there's no manual. No one's gonna tell you, okay, now you're pregnant or now you're trying to conceive. This is how you should do that math. It doesn't exist, right?
Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome to We Are Feel. It's another new episode. I'm super excited to have the conversation that you're about to have. My name is Lucky Gondi, one of the co-hosts of We Are Feel. Wamboi, we'll know. But thank you so much for joining us. Before we start, please make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that anytime you release a new episode, you're notified. Also, make sure that you follow us on we_are_feel. And so we want to get into it. So today we have an amazing guest. We met her during one of our escapades with Homeboy.
Sounds like we met her like some dingy place.
I know. After that, I'm just like, that's the wrong word.
Okay.
That's an amazing an event on podcasting. Her name is Sally. I want you to introduce yourself, tell us a bit about yourself and her podcast. Because yeah, that's how we went.
Right.
Yeah.
I tried to rehearse an intro because I suck at them, but I'll just freestyle it.
Yes, please.
My name is Sally Kuria. I'm the host of the Mama Tales podcast. It's a podcast on our collective journey of motherhood. Right? I think that's the words. Those are the words that I use. But it's essentially just stories on parenting with a focus on motherhood. I am a mother myself, a mother of two, got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old who essentially rule my life. But I'm trying to get some I'm trying to get some independence back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
as Kenyans.
Wow. Yeah, you had to bring that one in. Yeah, but it's true. It's true. It's true. No, we're doing great. We're doing great stuff. Yeah. But that's, I think, for the context of this podcast, that's who I am.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Actually, so the episode today is around motherhood and finances. And so I think for me, let me just start with my impression around motherhood and finances. So when I think, I'm not yet in the season of motherhood. So, but when I think about becoming a mom, I'm like excited because, you know, we see kids and you're like, oh
yeah, they're
so
cute.
That's
how they trap you.
And then, that's how it happens. So let me be careful.
That's how they trap you.
And then I start thinking, man, what I earn be able to pay? Will I be able, like the things I see our parents have to buy, like continuous buying of Pampers, clothes, because they are constantly growing when they're young. And I'm like, am I sure I'm in a financial state to support this kid? And I think at this point, I'm thinking about it. I think sometimes I don't think about maybe me being like, my intended is that I'm having a partner. But most time when I think from a financial perspective, I'm like, is what I am able
by yourself,
to sustain me being able to have a kid and what is needed. And so, that's like how I think about it now. Sometimes it makes me now a bit more scared to kind of like jump into it. But yeah, what was your initial experience before or thoughts?
I mean, I always try and imagine that I didn't really think too much about it, but in hindsight, I actually really did. So let me give you a bit of a backstory.
Yeah.
I was, you've just left uni, starting your career, you're living life. And then my boyfriend and I decided we'd get married. So we'd been dating from first semester, first month, uni. So this is like, we're talking about 10 years in, and you're like, okay, fine, let's get married. And my idea was we'd start a family soon after.
Yeah.
Well, not too soon, but just around
around
that area.
Yeah.
So I looked at my life, and we're looking at how I grew up. I grew up with hardworking parents. My dad traveled a lot, so my mom was always with us, but she had to constantly work. So she was barely there.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that for my kids. I was also at a point in my career where I needed a shift, right? Where you just feel like this isn't the one that is for me.
Yeah.
So I saw the wedding as a great point to pivot, because I'm great at pivoting.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Changing.
Yeah, it was like great. So it's like that's a great point to pivot. I talked to my husband and I was like, let's do this. What I'm gonna do is I'll quit my job. Very great job, but I'll quit it so that I can prepare myself to be the primary caregiver. You know what that looked like? I didn't want to quit my career. I still wanted to earn money.
Yeah.
But since I wanted to shift it into something more entrepreneurial, with no entrepreneurial experience, whatever, no one even around my circle was an entrepreneur. But I was like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you cover us. Figure it out. You cover us. I wasn't even earning much to be covering us, but I was just like, bro, you cover us, and then I'll figure this part out. So by the time you're having kids, I'll have that flexibility of being around, and also going on with my career and also providing in the way that I can.
Yeah.
So like, fine. So got married in August 2019. That was my last working month. And then I was pregnant by September. I was like,
that was too soon after.
I was like, yo, I know I said soon, but I haven't even.
Too soon.
I was just like, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. Like, I don't even have the concrete idea of what it is that I said I will go out to do.
Yeah.
So I just felt horrible. I was just like, I failed my mother, I failed myself.
Yeah.
I've added extra burdens to this man. Probably hadn't thought about that part.
Yeah.
And now there's a baby coming. Okay, so how much is a baby gonna cost? Right? That time I'm out of insurance, but thankfully it was like, okay, maybe the birth stuff, and then the bills start coming in. Right? And the bills, what I mean by this, I had a friend who was pregnant before me.
Yeah.
And she was telling me she would take meds monthly. I'm like, what do you mean by monthly meds? But it's just that, you get supplements, you get extra this, extra that, and it's a monthly cost. So it's just like, will I deplete my insurance before I even give birth?
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like. Like, how much is it to give birth? So I remember I was trying to prepare myself to so I can give birth naturally.
Yeah.
But what happens if it's a C-section? So all those thoughts are in my head. I remember also now trying to figure out, so now I didn't have the time to form this career for myself. Maybe remote work would be the thing.
Yeah.
So still 2019. We haven't got into 2020 madness.
Yes.
So I start applying to jobs to the career that I had said I am done with. But I'm like,
because now you feel like it's the where you can.
Yeah, and I think there are many parts of this. It was just that sense of my mother provided for us. So I should be I wasn't taken to uni to be a stay-at-home. I thought I was telling myself, and that's essentially what I turned into.
Yeah.
All by myself. It was my choice. But but the baby, that kind of just made it tougher. So it was quite a hard. I remember my first pregnancy was a bit hard, trying to think about and trying to balance that and just my self-worth, which I think we'll talk about a lot in this episode. But definitely I think that thought of finances, I think as a mom, you're trying to think about finances don't come from the sky. You're trading your time for that. And that's time you're taking away from your family. Right?
Yeah.
So where do you strike that balance? And there's no manual. No one's going to tell you, okay, now you're pregnant or now you're trying to conceive. This is how you should do that math. It doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
So definitely it helped. I knew for sure if I was to give birth to this child alone, at that point, I was jobless. Ningeenda home.
Like, Mom, I'm here.
Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I left with a half and puff. I'm back.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I think for me, just having that, it was hard. It was really hard. Again, this things I'm trying to sort out in therapy, but it was really hard trying to depend on somebody else. But I had to at that point.
Yeah.
Because just the kids, even before they come, it's just a spiraling cost. Right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it might be like a hindrance sometimes
to actually
doing it.
Because for me, I think when I think about it, now because you mentioned, I never think about it from like the pregnancy point. I think
it starts from
the man is like the baby is here, so I need pampers. Now the mention it, I remember people take supplements and the hospital and
there's a clinic,
and
then you can't really predict how your pregnancy will go. I know that people who can't even work the first 3 months. So will your job allow you to take bed rest? I know there's this sense of like you can't even figure out what to eat. Will you be able to afford anything different?
Change in diet and stuff
change
like
in
that.
diet and things like that. So there's a lot of cost already. Before that child even makes it right? So there's just that sense of like, can I do this? And then you can't know ahead. You can't know how your body will react to pregnancy. That's the one thing you can never know.
Is that something that you wish you knew about finances and managing finances before? I know it was like
I mean,
we got into it.
I feel like sometimes I don't like hindsight too much.
Like I wish because
sometimes now it adds a bit of regret that you probably didn't even have any business having. You know what I mean? But I think the one thing I wish I knew back then is that there's always going to be a way to figure it out. Wow, I'm really saying that.
We are feeling here. We are feeling people.
But it's true. Like it somehow, some way will happen. And probably I think the biggest takeaway, and it's best if I put it right at the beginning of this episode, is the fact that if not for those kids, I would not be where I am financially.
Let's unpack it.
Because now all of a sudden, you're not just thinking about me and this cup that I'm emptying as I keep taking out of. You're actively thinking about ways to fill this cup. Right? So I even noticed my work ethic exponentially increased. Right? My discipline is exponentially increased. The way I think about opportunities,
it's totally different.
Because I'm like, I'm trading precious time for this. It better be worth it. You know what I mean? Not like before where maybe my goal would be like, maybe I want to move to a nicer house. Or maybe I want to do this. I'm just like, sometimes I remember even when we enrolled my daughter to school, she just started school. You're looking at that fees. And then you're like, okay. Now I need to figure out how to get that money. It's not, now you can't go to that school because no.
It's now on you.
Now it's like, okay. And then I'm like, that's the kind of drive you need. That's the kind of drive you need that I don't think I would have had if I didn't have those kids just trying to push me. And then also like that's the actual physical changes of your mind. First of all, you can't even sleep any longer. So you'll wake up earlier. You wake up to watch TV. No, at some point you'll get tired. So you'll be like, maybe let me do something. You find yourself it's a lot more
like your life. It's like
your brain is also just churning and moving, right? And now the thing is like, how do you turn that into opportunity, right? So I feel like it's one of those things of it maybe actually needed to happen exactly when it happened, how it happened. Because now I'm a lot financially smarter than I would have been. Like even think about like investing and stuff like that. I'm at a retirement. In my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be a burden to my kids.
Now there's like a bigger
purpose. And I want to be like that great grandma. So how do I bump up my retirement to be know? So it's one of those things of like, at the beginning, it's oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
You do that math and it's not math. So tunataka kuhama. I remember one of the biggest ones for us was moving house. And you're like, and it was just before the birth of the second born. And you're like, I need space. So both my husband and I work at home. Our daughter, we raised her up essentially with very minimal help actually, which is, that's another problem altogether. But so when the second one was coming, it was like, I know for this transition to be easier, she needs space, she needs an outside. We were living in an apartment. She needs an outside, she needs, community, some other people.
Yeah.
How do we do that? You're like looking at the houses and like, how are you going to afford that house, right? When you make it happen, you're like, look, I've even elevated our standard of living. Why? Because of these
kids.
These kids.
Yeah,
so it's just it's one of those things. It takes and then it gives at the same time. Right? That's how I try and console myself. Sometimes you have to really console.
You have to kind of find something to keep the why and
you have to give. Otherwise, you'll go nuts. You'll go mad.
Yeah, and I think that's good validation. Most people who are in that season to know that it's actually difficult, but at the same time it gives. Because I think I don't know, maybe as young ladies right now, there's a lot of yes, you need to thrive in your career, and then motherhood is also being made to feel as if it's now hard actually, I think, to say you want to just be a mom.
Yeah.
Than probably it was some few years back.
The judgment is intense.
Right now, right? And so you're like, are you going to be exchanging your career for kids, and you're going to be taking a break? Would that not impact? But not recognizing also this has its own things that it actually gives and grows for you. And actually the point you've mentioned on it made you kind of elevate your game. It's something I've actually had several different women
100%.
who said, this one who was telling me about the sister, they were like, when the sister got their first kid, she, like, in a few months, she was promoted to manager when she was really young. And she was like, she would attribute that to her getting the kid, because now that gives you a certain level of push. Like, this kid cannot go hungry.
Yeah. You need to make it happen.
You need to wake up that time. You have to wake up. And so,
and that's the great scenario. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen that way, especially if the environment around you doesn't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
I know people who, after they come from maternity leave, the company finds a way to fire them. Right? I've had those stories.
Yeah.
And then there's also this angle of, because kids, you can never really be prepared for the impact of being a mom. First of all, you're handed that child in the hospital and you're like, I don't so what am I supposed to do? You know, like, I don't I don't know, right? The biology is there, but there's like a thing that's not clicking, right? And sometimes this can really lead to a lot of self-doubt. And then you talk about baby blues, and then you talk about postpartum depression. It just goes on. And sometimes it starts very simply, because I remember for me, it's just a simple thought. You're on the balcony with your kid and you're like, what would happen? You're going down the stairs. It got to a point where I wouldn't even say trust myself carrying the child down the stairs. Or do I want to try and hold a wall? Or there's nothing physically wrong with me. It's just this mental thing. You're like, and it's one of those things that you need to really normalize. That point of, I know some people even think about work as an escape. Like, let me just leave. We leave. Some people even start working maybe a month after giving birth. It's like you just want to leave it because your mind isn't just, you're not in the right mental space to handle this. So there's also that angle of it that I don't want to get lost and just say every woman after birth just becomes superwoman and goes, pushing people around in the career and thriving. There's this other hand, and people can lose their jobs. People can lose their will to just live and survive and adjust. So it's one of those things that the environment around you needs to be tight and in sync and set. And
what does that environment entail?
So a big part of it is, I think, family. Family is really important. If you have access to family, if you have access to a loving partner, is also quite great. And I mean partner, not like someone who's just who's just there being given the word dad, but they're not really
doing anything and not supporting.
They're not the one who's waking up at night. They've never changed a diaper. They've never, it goes more than just providing, right? So there's that part of it. And then there's getting help in the house.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me,
Mm-hmm.
I only recently realized this, but I was punishing myself for something by not allowing help. I was punishing myself.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to unpack that therapy. But I was punishing myself for not accepting any help. So what that would look like is, even as I was trying to work, because I was still working.
Yeah.
I had part-time work, and I was still working on the podcast.
Yeah.
Would only work around my daughter's nap, which can and cannot happen.
Yeah.
And then I've also put it against myself. I'm like, I'm the one who's cleaning the house. I'm the one who's washing the dishes. I'm the one who's cooking everything in this house. I'm the one. It is me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I was just trying to justify the fact. See, but you left work.
Yeah. You need to
do something. You need to do something on this end. So you're being given money for food.
Yeah.
You find out you better cook it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot. That's just a whole other thing about it. But you see, if you get a home environment that's very helpful, someone that you can be like, hold the baby for a bit, let me go take a shower. And I never realized how important it is to just take a shower. Guy, that you don't have to announce the entire house. Imagine I'm going to take a shower. If everyone could just give me a minute, I need to go take a shower. You know what I mean?
It's that, like, it has to be like that.
Yes. So there's that part of it, and then also, like, if you're a career woman, is your environment allowing you
to be able
to take that break and to come back? Because even when you come back, there's still a lot of commitment of, like, I'll probably need to leave early.
Yeah.
My daughter or child is not gonna be feeling well at some point. There's gonna be clinic moments. I need to pump.
Yeah.
I used to work at a place where before things changed, it's either if you're lucky you have a car, you pump in it, or you pump in the washroom. Right? Then eventually, because it was young, it was a young company, and then the people were young, but as they're having babies now, eventually some room had to be made for that to happen, right? So there has to be that supportive environment, because you're already going through such a hard time adjusting to the fact that I have a baby that somehow depends on me, but I don't know what I'm doing. So everyone can't be in the same space. Like someone else has to be figured out. So I think that really does. I really think, and then being able to understand or to notice your people around you, being able to notice, okay, maybe you're not doing too well, and flag that immediately as fast as possible, and normalizing the fact that baby blues exist and postpartum depression exists.
That's quite interesting. I think the journey feels it's just about moving with the flow. And
to be honest, it is moving with the flow, and it has, sometimes I always don't also want to be a fearmonger. Because sometimes be like, hey, you want to be a mother? Let me tell you how hard it is. It's also pretty great at the same time. Like, it's just one of those things that, I don't know, it feels so, just feels fulfilling. It's hard, but you're just like, I get it through. Like, if it was easy, it wouldn't be this.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as rewarding.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
Yeah,
I mean, the rewards are not like, I can't even explain.
A big car. I
can't even explain it. It's just like, once, finally they call you mama, you're like, oh my God. And then they call you mama 15 times in a row, and you're like, hey. So it's just one of those things. Yeah.
Okay. So now you the baby is here. You're pregnant.
Yeah.
After 1 month.
Yeah.
You've gone through the 9 months. And now the baby is here. What at that point, and also with your second baby coming in, what have been different financial adjustments that you have had to make, both individually as Sally and also as a couple?
Okay.
And all
right. I think the individual one it's pretty. I think that after the first baby, it was just a sense of, so I have this money. Am I going to buy diapers, or will I buy a new bra? Am I going to do, and then you're looking, especially those first 3 months, you'll go through a packet of of diapers in days. And one packet. Now I think then it was retailing for like 700.
Yeah.
Now I think it's at 1,200.
Yeah.
There's a couple of the baby hasn't stopped changed how they poop.
It's the same way.
It's just that, you change and then they poop again. You're like, like gosh,
Another.
it's so so you start doing that math and then eventually you figure it out. I think for us, and I keep sharing this as much as possible. It helped me feel less guilty when I divide finances. In that sense of like, there isn't just one pot that this is the money we have right now. So every time money comes in, you're like, okay, this is for house, separate account, not in the same account, like it's a completely separate account. This is for the child, completely separate account.
Yeah.
This is for you, completely separate account. If either of us issues before the month ends, tough luck. Hold it on until the next month. Yeah. So I immediately developed financial discipline. Like it's fine. I can walk around with various cards.
Yeah.
But each is for this specific thing. Nothing moves to the other. Understand how many packets of diapers we're buying this week. Understand how much I'm paying people for this. Understand how much that
much level.
That,
of detail,
to be honest, just helped.
So do you like budget part, like, for Sally this month I need blah blah blah, for kids this month this is the much I need.
Pretty much. And it's pretty predictable. It's pretty predictable. After some time you kind of understand where we are at. And then also, let me tell you, school has been a big adjustment, but so let's just roll back to those. That was a fast adjustment of like, I don't have this pot of money. What we have is pockets. So we just keep filling those pockets as it goes, right? And then you just start figuring out how that works. And it works pretty, at least for us, it's worked pretty okay. When it comes to how much money goes to yourself, it's like, it's
very
so negligible. It's like,
comparison to everything that you would want for yourself.
So then you start understanding the process of delayed gratification. You're like, I could easily just buy that shoe, but maybe what I can do, I can save up that money that I give myself the next 5 months to figure it out. Then I'll really require that shoe at that point, right? But I think the one thing that I wish, now this is where the hindsight comes in, which I appreciate. The one thing I wish, I just didn't have to punish myself because I was a kid. In that sense of like, I remember
that happens a lot.
Yeah, I was wearing nursing bras even after I stopped nursing anyone. Like, they'll give you no support whatsoever. But you're just like, I mean, there's also a physical thing of like, you're going to a shop, your body has changed. You're like, I don't know if it would feel the same way again. They're like, let me just, and that's why sometimes you feel moms just get into a slump. Like you stop taking care of yourself, you stop taking care of how you look, how you're just like, first of all, I haven't even come to terms with what has happened physically to my body. But then also this money has other places to go. It's very rare to see dads do that.
Really?
Anyway. You don't have a dad here to defend themselves. So let me not touch that, right? And then definitely the other adjustment had to come in, I think, with my second. That point in time, we didn't have a solid medical cover. So, and for my daughter, it was an emergency C-section. So I had a feeling this one we were going to go somewhere close to that. And I know how much money that was, right? So you're trying to figure out, will we be able to raise that by then? And so I remember with my first, I gave birth in an ensuite room. Labored there. Delivery, not delivery. The ward, the maternity ward was also a really great, huge room with all of that. For my son, I was like, we're going to go to a ward bed.
Just balance.
Let's just try and balance this situation because I know birth already will be expensive. And it was. And he needed time in the NICU. So that's another cost that you had not prepared for. Like you didn't. How would you have known that your child would need extra support after they're born?
No,
you can't know that,
you can
right?
know that, yeah.
So it's just like, for me, what I'll just sit in the ward bed and then like constantly ask for the bill every day.
Yeah, to just see where
you know what I mean. So it's just one of those things where like it's fine. We'll adjust. We'll figure it out. Then we'll figuring it out. Great name, guys. And then we go, and then we move on. So now even thinking about like big goals that you have ahead, you know, in my mind I was like, I remember even the thought of building a house was I'd convinced myself I want to be like a homeschool mom. So we need a house that has extra room to have like a classroom that's not a bedroom, you know. So like, how are you? I'm like, we just build a house. Like, with what money, you know? So it was one of those things of like, okay, we sit down, I really explain the dream. Eventually it makes sense. So now you're like, okay, so combined, how achievable is this goal? So it's just one of those things. I think it helped the fact that we were friends. And we started ground zero, right? So instead of looking at it as split resources, it's a combined pot of, these are the pockets that we need to fill. Okay, how much are you putting for here, for here? How much is for yourself? That's great. And then we proceed with life. You're like, okay, so now when I don't know what happens when two of them go to school. And it's sort to somehow.
I like the fact that the journey is about figuring it out, because I feel like at first you'd feel it's scary, but I feel like as you're telling your story, at each point you're jumping the hurdle. At each point. So it's like, as much as you're saying you don't feel if you're working, I think a lot of people should take that at each point they should actually say you jump the hurdle, meaning it's doable. And doesn't mean it is easy to do it, but you can actually do it.
And that's why sometimes they say maybe it's great if your first child is an accident, because you won't think too hard about it. Right? And you'll also be very surprised as to how much you can actually do. You know, that I think that's a big thing.
I think we underestimate our capacity of how much we are able to handle at any given time.
Because once you find yourself in a situation where you really have to really figure it out somehow,
you will do it.
Imagine you do it. It's like, okay, actually, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was. Or maybe these are the adjustments that I need to do to make that happen. So you do this thing of just like, okay, fine, it's okay. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, the kids at every single tax bracket. They're there. From the very poorest to the very richest.
They're still kids.
They're here. And they'll survive. So then how do you just like align yourself? And I was like, it's hard, but I feel like it's a great incentive. It's a very great
keep
incentive.
You like challenging yourself.
To challenge you like this.
Because we are ready to jump hurdles and grow in our careers and make moves and do this. And it's not easy, though. You still you're still learning, so I think it's just the application of that same mentality to
and kids
this other sector,
even will help you align boundaries. You'll be like, nah, I'm not taking a job that's gonna have me working on a weekend. Or these are the hours. Or if you can't respect the fact that I'm a mother, are you a great person? You know what I mean? So you start doing this thing of like, you even find yourself trying to filter out less toxic places for you to be part of. Because it matters if people, you know, this is the other thing people talk about, we love family or but you have to put some action behind that. You have to allow your female employees space to pump and space for, if they need to leave early, that's fine. Because that's the other thing about it. People don't realize. Mom guilt is an interesting thing, right? One, it will make you feel absolutely horrible about yourself. But it really makes you show up for a lot of stuff. So even if I miss, say, an hour here, I know for sure I'll make it up way more than what was even lost. Right? Like, if I'm here proper and I'm giving it everything because I need this extra. So if people understand how that's an actual asset instead of a liability, we'd be so far ahead. I think people think about it as a liability.
Like that's time lost, that's revenue lost.
That's someone who's just thought about, okay, so you've thought about me as a mom and you've catered for me. I'm gonna give you everything that I have.
Yeah.
I think that's the part.
Because I need to know how all these parts work.
Yes.
And I need to be focused and put what I can at each given point.
Yeah, and you need to give me that space to do that.
Yeah.
So then I'll give you everything.
Yeah,
and I think that's, and if you think about like really successful women, even entrepreneurs, it's just a sense of like you're driven by something.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at the opportunity cost. I'm losing this time that I could have been bapped on and tagged my hair, and my son eats my hair for some reason. I don't know why. Doesn't look appetizing, but he does. So like I'm giving up that time to be here, and I'll definitely give it everything that I have.
Yeah.
And it needs to be reciprocated.
Yeah, because one of the things, and the last question as we wrap up, and I think I had mentioned it before, is most of us, the fear is of losing that income or an income reduction because you're a mom. I've also had women who have lost promotions because of becoming a mom, or even their businesses start collapsing because if you're the only person who was running your business and now you're pregnant and something, as you've said, it's unpredictable. I don't know how would you tell? Like
this is things I've been learning as we go on.
Yeah.
One, the biggest thing about it is people are afraid of taking career pauses. Even me, I was very afraid of that because I remember it was like, how will I explain my LinkedIn where there's like a gap?
Yeah.
So I need to do something, to like so that I can be able to come back into the world.
Yeah.
I remember I once had someone on the podcast, and for her it was such a simple choice. She was just like, I'm not working for the next 10 years. I was like, how easily did you make that choice? She's like, I learned it helps that she's a life coach.
Oh yeah. she knows.
Yeah. She just said we have decades and decades and decades left to work. Why are you complaining about this 10 where you cannot take back? Once they grow up, they're gone. You can't rewind.
And actually, it's like 18, even less, because when they go to
by the time they go 10,
is it? That's it.
Those ones are just all other But you see this little parts where and the change. And someone was asking me why we measure pregnancy with weeks. It's because a week is very big. It's a dramatic change, right? Yeah. Same for months when they grow up. That's why it's very annoying. I remember people are very annoyed when how old is your child and you're like 23 months. You're like, so just say you go close to 2 years. Like it's not the same. As a like you have to realize these months are very important because there's a lot of happening, right? And you kind of want to be there because those foundational years, especially the first 5 years, are very crucial to who this person becomes. Right? So you want to give it attention. So definitely something's gonna give right? And most times it's career. But women are just very afraid of like, I cannot go back. How will I reintegrate myself into that? And that sentence of like, we have so many decades to work. Because once those kids, especially once they go to school, and I think a lot of stay-at-home moms can attest to this. You're left there like, so then what do I do with my day? It's hectic for the first 5 years and then it's gone. When all of a sudden you have a full day, you're like, what am I supposed to do with that, right? So you have time to reintegrate yourself into something. And like I keep saying, I love pivoting. You have time to pivot. Like some people go back to school. Some people get into a whole new career if you do not get acceptance back. Some people find a way back. So it's just one of those things of, you have so many years left to work. Why are you so scared about this 5? Right? You cannot tell me for the next 40 years you won't figure out what to do with your career.
On your life, It's just I think most also people attach self to career so much that if this career is not there, I don't know who Leah is. And motherhood is, and they feel like motherhood really doesn't give you that identity, because career is I'm a project manager. You usually use that as I'm a project manager. So that's who Leah is. But motherhood feels like everyone else can be a mom. So it's like, but me as a project manager, it gives you some form of pride, and so detaching from that.
It's big, and then also just motherhood is also something that you can definitely go in and spiral and disappear into. Proper, like you're gone.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes when you even look at our moms, even when you're grown up, they're still trying to hold you because you are their identity for so long. So they always just want to try and, so they are never given a chance to explore who is this person? Who are you outside career? Who are you outside motherhood? So I'm actually at that point where I'm trying to figure out me. And so I was saying, like for the intro, I really had to figure out how I don't want to say I'm a mom or that's not the first sentence that should be coming out of my mouth. What is the first sentence? Who is Sally? You know, and we don't get a chance to explore that at all. But we want our kids to be whoever you are going to this world. It's your oyster. But you're just there, like, so your kids leave and then you're like left like, okay, so twiddling your thumbs and stuff like that. So definitely, I think understanding that there's a lot of time for your career. Me, that was a game changer in my head. I was like, okay, so I relaxed. I was relaxed. I was like, it's okay. Somehow I can figure it out. And then there's even it's like when you go back, because now I've recently started going back to work. It's like going back to day one of uni, where the opportunities are endless. Oh my god, I can actually do this and this and this and this and this. So there's a renewed joy as opposed to a time where you probably would have plateaued. Now I'm like,
mostly remain in the same position for a long period of time with zero growth.
So imagine take a break and then you come back, you're like, actually, I want this track. And you figure out how to get to that track. So there's that part. And then definitely the financial impact will be there. It will be there. But you can choose to accept it as. I think there's this idea of, which is something I'm trying to unlearn, which is scarcity mentality. Of like, there's always going to be lack. It's ending. It's ending, you know. Careers will end. The job. You know, sometimes I love listening to very odd podcasts from everywhere around the world because you're hearing some careers and like, there's a job in that. Like and even just the oddest things are like, oh, I recently met someone who works at a company that sells internet. In your mind, you'd be like Zuku and I don't know. They sell internet to Safaricom or to the. So like there's so like where do you think they get the internet from? I'm like, that's a very good question. I never thought there's a whole other
ecosystem
that exists. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much. And then also with money. It's sometimes I even feel like it's great when you're seeing that it's dwindling and it's going everywhere else because you're like, so then how do I increase that's coming in? How do I do that? If it doesn't go anywhere, you'd be like, I think I'm fine.
I'm okay. I don't really need to put in more.
But there's like a lot of self-confidence or confidence that's hurt when you stop earning money. Because you're just like, I used to do this. I used to be this big shot. Now I'm changing diapers. Now I'm asking for money for this. That malizes you proper. Like
I think personally,
like you're done.
To be honest, I think I'd struggle.
You're done. No, I'm actually still trying to get out of it. You're done. You're shattered. You're shattered. So much so that even when you get into rooms to negotiate for money, like, you wanna pay me that? Me lowly diaper changer? Like, why would you wanna do? So there's a lot of work in trying to build back your confidence. And unfortunately, it's just because we live in a society that tries to cut you down and saying, but you're just a mom. Instead of glorifying the fact that you're doing such an incredible thing of bringing life to this world and nurturing it, even when you don't know how to do it, you're still doing it. People are not saying that part, but just like, see you, you just stay at home. Why are you even tired? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why am I even tired? like, have you started this kid for a while? And this, so there's a lot of, there's a shift, and the society right now, the way it is, I feel like with our ancestors, a little bit more acceptance to mom. Now it's really not.
It's difficult.
It's a different ball game for dads. Because they have
there's more encouragement actually for more men to be more dads, and less encouragement for women to be moms.
On Sundays, if you just see for me, there's one time it asked me to no end. We were at Sari Center Food Mall at food court at the top. So we sat down, both kids, and then I think my husband was trying to go to the washroom, but my kids wanted to go with him. I was like, it's nothing new. I'll go with all of them to the loo. We all go together. Like, go with them then, right? So they go and they come back. He's telling me, hey, I've been stopped like by 2 people telling me like I'm such a great dad and I have cute kids. I was like, bro, me, I've been working in this road. Nobody has ever stopped me to tell me you're a great mom. Oh, you look so good with your kid. Never has that ever happened. This man walks 20 meters that way. It's already 2 people are just like, oh my God, you're such a great. I even like on Sundays, I love Sundays especially because you see dads holding the kids. Mama, koko nyuma, anatemea number bags.
Yeah.
But dads are like, oh, that's such a great guy. If someone would just be affirming moms, be like, you're such a great mom, you're doing such a great job, things would be so much. Man, like if you have mom friends around you, just even out of the blues, don't be like, hey, na by the way, mtoto amekonda, this clothes, you know those tools.
Small things that
those ones are the ones that even ask me most. You talk to the child, and you're like, oh, mami amesema hata kuchana nywele leo.
Oh yeah,
mami it's never you know like
it's not about daddy ama whoever.
Ambia mami unatakanga kuvaa hivi. You're like, so just
say that.
Just congratulate me for keeping the child alive
and healthy and not
and clothed. Could someone
at least
could someone just ask me like, how did you sleep well? Can you sleep in for this little things that I feel like that's why we really make motherhood so hard for people because of society. We're not really helping or supporting moms. So if they don't get that support at home and then they go outside and they don't get it,
where else
that's where that ends, right?
Yeah.
So you get into a hole. So I mean, biggest takeaway here: support moms.
Support. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just words. We don't even need a lot. Just be like, "Hey, you're really doing a great job." Or your kids look really great. Oh my God, something. Say just like, hey, and you've just decided like your weight is not going. You're not gonna bounce back. It bounce back to what?
Well,
some things are not bounceable back. Like just imeenda ka imeendanga. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I hope I have.
It has. Yeah, I think you have. I think because I know it's a struggle, and even in my mind, as I told you when we started, is in my mind, I'm just like,
can you do
in
this?
My head, it's not that I'm about to take a career break. But one thing that I usually understand is that I tell myself, and I don't know how I'll be able to do it, is I always know when the concept of balance is not about everything being the same at the same time.
Yes.
It's about knowing at this period, like I am in, I can focus on my career because I'm not yet in this season, but when this season comes in, this is where I need my focus to be in, and this one thing would need to take a step down. And so balance is more of like equity. So depending on the different points in life, there's something that needs to go down and something that needs to go higher. And so it's for me to understand when I'm in those different seasons, what's that thing that needs to be up and things need to be down where it is.
Realizing that no choice is a bad choice. It's fine. As long as it's your choice.
It's your choice.
And you can stand by it. I think that's the part that matters. And even this thing you always ask as a mom is like, how are you striking the balance? It's great that you put that up. You're not striking any balance. It's not going to be everywhere 100%. It's just one of those things that you realize you can have it all. It's not at the same time. And that's fine. Like you can have everything you want. Maybe not at the same time. And maybe they have no business happening at the same time. Because then you'll be bored. It's something to be working towards or moving towards. So it's just things like that just make you just like calm down. And I keep saying that the biggest point of support is the home. Even with kids. That's why it's very important. At least for me, it was very important to be there. It's funny. For a long time, I used to think, I failed this big thing, or like, should you entrepreneur or whatever. In hindsight, I looked back, I'm like, I've actually been at home every single day of my motherhood life with these kids. Like I have been that person. I have lived that. It didn't look the way I thought it was supposed to look like. But I've achieved that, and I'm even at a point that's even better. Which I would never have predicted 2019. I would never have thought about that. But see, here we are. I'm like, okay, if I'd prepared, maybe I would be nowhere.
And I think life is not about rigidity.
It's not about
I think it's about it constant
also, even
iterations.
in career, you're also figuring out. There's no actually when I was 20, like, I know how this is gonna go.
Yeah, and someone told me something you've said. Actually, I don't know. Come back.
It's okay. They always find a way to come back when they're not needed.
I've actually lost the whole point. But, I've remembered. Someone was saying about that choice, because this week I've been in a point where I needed to make a choice in my career. I'm in a transition I'm making, and someone was like, "You can never." Choices, and mostly like in regards to like careers and stuff, you can never make a choice that you regret, because at every single point it's a learning process. Yes. So yes, it might go and it might not work out, but it's still a learning process.
You figured, you did it.
You did it. You are like, nah.
Can't even make. This is my go-to thing. I love it when I know what I don't want. I never want to know what I want. I want to be absolutely sure.
I don't want
that.
Yeah.
That's that. If that's enough for me. I know that's what I don't want.
Yeah. And you never know if you don't want, if you don't do it.
If you don't do it,
how will you know?
You're like, you start. You're like, Z. Actually, stucky.
And we wrap it there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Sally. This is such a good conversation, man. I feel like I just feel like. But no kunaangaliwa vibaya, man. Smiling at me, man.
And so I was just trying to tell you guys, don't give a podcaster a microphone. You gotta be here.
You go, and now there are two.
Whatever. But thank you so much for having me. But if you do wanna have more, conversations, more, in touch stories about what's happening in motherhood.
Yeah,
my podcast is a very great place to find that. With over. Now we're getting to 70 episodes.
Woo!
So you could just check that out, mamatillspodcast.com. It's on the website. It's on every streaming platform as well.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, and we got big things coming up, I hope. I don't know. We'll go with the flow.
She's a figuring it out of person. So we know she'll jump that hurdle. So that's one thing. But this whole podcast, that's one thing I can attest to.
No pressure. We just go on.
Yeah, so thank you so much. This has been amazing, man. I feel... Now, I don't know, I feel like more encouraged towards that direction of my life, despite like all the hurdles. I feel like more encouraged, to be honest. And I'm looking forward. Forward.
All the best.
Yeah, I won't also try to overthink it and think about it and plan it too much. So I'm a planner by nature.
You know, the best place you can overthink I'm really plugging my podcast, but you could actually come on the podcast. Actually, I have a lot of listeners that are not moms.
Yeah.
So you could actually come to the podcast and ask all those questions.
I said,
I can talk forever.
Yes. So thank you so much, guys. Make sure you catch us at _R_Fio, all social media platforms. On YouTube, we are Fio. Make sure that you hit the subscription button and the notification bell. P.S. Spotify, work on a notification bell. Please hit that notification bell and share with your friends and family. And please share with us some of the good gems you've taken from this episode, and also some of the questions that you have, and maybe we'll share and have them answered at Mama Tales.
Please.
Yes. So thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.